Welcome back to our latest episode of Rake Your Position, where four friends love to talk baseball, and we're going to live out our dream from our chairs. I'm Aaron, the host.
I am Joe, the groundskeeper.
Stocky Pride Award winner, Jay Lee, the rover.
I'm Corey, the stat man, and I once hit my own grandma with a foul ball.
Hey, to get us rolling, to share stories once again, so you get to know us a little bit, we're going to share our most memorable experience meeting a baseball player. And so Jared and I actually share this story. We experienced this together. What year do you think it was, Jared? 10 years ago?
Man,
maybe?
I was still living in Pittsfield. So after high school, like 2012, 2013, maybe.
That'd be my
Seems
guess
right.
too. So we were at lunch at the local Mexican restaurant in our small hometown. And there's a group of us from church. So we were just hanging out. Everybody's done eating. We're hanging out. The place is cleared except for us. There's about 15 of us or so sitting around this table just talking in the afternoon. And these four hunters come in. Now, something about our small town, we're all from the same small town, Pittsfield, Pike County, Illinois. It's known for its hunting. People from all over travel. Baseball players are always there during hunting season. So these four guys walk in all camo. And I got my back to the door, and I don't remember if it was Jared or maybe Curtis. I don't remember who was pointing it out, but somebody's like, "Hey, that's Roy Oswalt. That's Roy Oswalt." And so Jared and I are like, trying to be nonchalant, cool, and take a peek. And sure enough, it looked like Roy Oswalt, but everybody else with us that came with us from our church group had no idea who this guy was. Of course, the high school girls are just freaking out that it's somebody famous, and so they're like, "I'm gonna meet a baseball guy." And so who was it that had the phone? Mark Henderson, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how would you describe Mark Henderson, Jared Lee?
Ooh, man. I think I'm going to use the word. I'm going to use quirky. Like
Quirky's good. Quirky cowboy.
Quirky
Let's
dad.
put it like that. He has no idea who anybody famous is. He's the dad of one of these girls that's freaking out. And so we're all like, somebody go ask him. Is it really Roy Oswalt? Let's go ask him. Let's go ask him. And so Mark Henderson's like, I'll do it. I don't care if he's famous or not. But he has no idea which one we're talking about. And so we look up Roy Oswalt's picture on the phone and hand Mark the phone. By the time Mark walks across the restaurant and puts this phone in the guy's face, the phone has fallen asleep. But Mark is sitting there with his phone in this dude's face going, "Is this you?" Of course, we're all dying laughing. His daughter's embarrassed. These four hunters look ticked off. And it turns out that the phone had fallen asleep. So Mark's like, "Oh, crap. I don't know how to turn this phone on." So Mark had to walk back over for us to turn the phone back on. Walks back over, puts it in the guy's face again, and goes, "Is this you?" But he was looking at the wrong guy. Roy Oswalt was sitting to the right, and he was putting this phone in his friend's face to the left. And Roy Oswalt, I mean, he looked like he was mad at the world, didn't he, Jared?
Yeah, it looked like he was probably going to kill somebody.
Yeah, he looked angry. He did not want to be bothered. He thought nobody would see me in Pittsfield. So we got Mark asking the right guy. Finally, yes, we get confirmation it's Roy Oswalt. Well, this is on a Sunday afternoon. That Monday morning, we find out on trade rumors that he had just got cut by the Phillies over the weekend. So
I forgot about that part.
So we just totally ruined his little hunting vacay. He had just got cut by the Phillies. His career was that may be the last season he pitched.
I think so.
Oh, in the last season he pitched. And so it was a disaster on all accounts. Old cowboy trying to run technology, nobody talking to the right person. Roy Oswalt already angry that he got cut. And so that was our most memorable moment with a baseball player. What about you guys? You got anything?
I don't leave the house, like you guys have pointed out a few different times, so I've not really met anybody.
Corey, you're gonna have to come so you can get a super cool memory that you can.
Yeah, have you guys met a lot of
Stash in
people
your
on these
mind.
trips?
I've met Nick Markakis a few times.
Have you?
AJ,
Or is it the
AJ
knockoff?
Brzezinski. We were set right next to
Yeah,
him.
that's right. We ate breakfast adjacent to AJ Brzezinski and his son.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool story, guys.
Oh.
So,
But my story, when we were talking about this, texting back and forth about what story, I thought of probably my probably the first store I remember with a player and even at a game. It would have been, I was thinking that would have been about like 6 or 7, not very old. And when I looked up the time that this player was there, that matches up. His name was Lee Smith. Some of you may remember Lee Smith. I remember we were right like on the first baseline, I think. They were playing catch. As a kid, you know, coolest thing ever. All the players are playing catch. They all look huge. Lee Smith in particular looked ginormous. And everybody's yelling and screaming, trying to get autographs. And I remember it was me right next to my mom, and she yells, "Hey Lee," and he's walking by, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm done for today." It just keeps walking. So no autograph from Lee Smith, but again, I remember it just because, you know, you're a kid giddy with excitement on the baseline of a big league game. And looking up his stats from his time with the Cardinals, 4 years, 160 saves, peaked out 1 year at 47 saves, 478 total saves throughout his career.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's definitely up there on that all-time list. And he was
Wasn't
a
he
big,
number one till
big
Hoffman?
dude. I mean, maybe. I mean,
I
yeah.
think Hoffman passed him, and then of course Mo ends up taking it.
That's why
But
we
Lee's
need.
still not in the Hall of Fame yet, is he?
No, I think he did make it. Let me scroll up here.
Did he finally make it? Okay. I know he was
Yeah,
on forever. Relievers
yeah, he-
always treated weird on Hall of Fame
He made
ballot.
it.
He was
Yeah.
number one until Hoffman.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And
He's-
then Hoffman ended up with 123 more,
Yeah. Kept going.
It's not bad.
and Mo's got 51 more than Hoffman.
Yeah, that's insane. All righty. Well, all of our faithful Rank Your Position viewers, do we have a name for our fans? Do we need, you probably don't want us making Never mind, let's move on.
I immediately thought of the Rakers, but I mean that could
No,
you
we
wanna
might
really-
want to brainstorm this
All right,
one.
if you
Yeah.
guys
Really
out there
enunciate
have
that.
something cool, you could share it with us.
yeah,
So
comment that.
each week now that we're into the season, as part of our recap of what just happened, my part of it is I'm going to have the guys help me put together our top 5 power rankings right now. So each of us filled out, we listed who we thought number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 are, and then I compiled them all together. And so what I'm about to share with you is profound mathematical.
Good thing it's not
perfection.
English.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not English, but mathematical perfection. These are rankings that you can stake your inheritance on. So I
Yep.
will give you a little teaser here. So we did top 5. 7 teams got votes in our top 5, so this will be fun. So coming in at number 5, and most of us, except for one, voted based off of Sunday. I don't know. Jared put the votes in today, but
I didn't look at any list. I just what you guys look the teams that we had from when you sent this. That's the teams I went off of. I didn't look at any other ranking.
All right, so I put rankings in as of Sunday night. So Monday and Tuesday are loosely associated with these rankings, but Wednesday has not happened. We're recording this. And some games are still going on Wednesday night, so
I think number 1 probably stayed the same regardless.
probably did, but we'll get there. All right, number 5. This team received 4 fourth place votes, and it got them the 5th ranking. So other teams jumped them, and that is the San Diego Padres. Now, I voted them 4th in my rankings as well because they just got done whooping the Braves over the weekend. At the time, there were 8 teams as of this weekend, all with 6 wins, and the Padres were one of them. But they had just got done beating the Braves, who also had 6 wins pretty easily, and so I think they definitely deserve a spot in the top 5.
Who left them off?
They got all 4 votes at 4th. All of us voted. Yeah, all of us voted 4th. That's the only thing that we agreed on. After that, things got wacky.
Okay.
Our 4th place team receiving 3 third place votes, which is you guys, and I actually voted them 5th, was the Atlanta Braves. Like I said earlier, they were tied with the Padres for the same record after this weekend, but since the Padres just whooped them, I couldn't put them ahead of the Padres. but you all did. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. A little love.
I
was
think
pissed
I
too.
just think I look at it like if I talk about the Braves more, you won't. So
Get it out of the way. Or I just also talk about them and the whole
Yeah,
pod
well,
becomes about the
that's true.
Braves. So we'll see. Anything to add about the Padres or the Braves on why you guys voted them there?
I mean,
I'll do some notes when we get higher up the list.
All right, sounds good.
okay.
Both,
I'll wait
yeah,
too.
both those teams are expected to make
Jay
the
Lee, talk
playoffs.
when you want.
Go for it. You got something?
No, I mean, I think for me, like it's still early, so I didn't really like factor too much into this. On paper, I still like the Braves lineup and pitching staff more. Not to say that the Padres have a bad lineup because they spent all that money, like they better have a good team. But when it comes down to later in the season, I'd like to see where these teams fall. So that's kind of just how I look at it. Like still early on in the season, so I'm not like too concerned about where I put these teams. I think to your point, I think there's one team on this list that like if they're not that spot, then we are really bad at our jobs.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like you said, both of these teams, Padres, Braves, both supposed to be in the playoffs. Both missing key parts right now. You got Tatis and Musgrove haven't played yet. For the Braves, Fried's barely played. And Darno and Harris both went on the IL after a couple of games. So both teams aren't at full strength, and yet what they have right now is pretty impressive. So moving on to our third place team. This place got one first place vote, one third place vote, and one fifth place vote. So we were all so somebody didn't vote for them. So they were all over the place. But third place coming on our rankings today is the Milwaukee Brewers. So I think you can all figure out who voted them first, because I know you guys all know who you voted first. So yeah, I picked them first. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Probably we'll get to the Rays. I had the Brewers first. I'm not for sure who left them off. Anybody want to claim who left the Brewers off? I believe it was a Cardinal fan.
Me?
It may. I did this a couple days ago. I can't remember did I leave them off?
You had the Astros, I think, instead of the Brewers. Somebody
Okay.
voted for the Astros. One person did.
I thought I put Brewers, but hey,
Yeah,
It
so
could be. I
I
probably
think
left
Joe
them off.
left the Brewers off, and I had them in first place.
Yeah, I
good
had
call.
the
I wanted to leave them off too, so it's fine.
well, mine was correct. So that's
There you
it's
go.
all good.
Milwaukee, when I voted, they had won the series against the Cubs. They had looked awesome against the Mets. They had just swept the Cardinals. So I put them in there. And they keep hanging in there. So our second place was the Yankees. They got 3 seconds, and I left them off. They were one of these 6-win teams that I did not put on there. And then first place, receiving 3 firsts and a second, were the Rays. Like I said, I put the Brewers first because the Rays at that point, yeah, they were 9-0 or 10-0, but they had played the Nationals, Tigers, and Athletics. The Brewers were 7-2 and had played tougher teams. So that's why I give the Brewers a slight edge. But since then, the Rays have still not lost. So
Yep. 12-0. They just wrapped up
This-
tonight.
So there you go. Let's talk about those rankings, fellas.
Is my problem, and I will never become this person because I'm always mad at them on any huge sports network. If an undefeated team in any professional sport, I'll say it is undefeated and they're not number one in any rankings, like this is dumb. I don't care if you play the Tigers 12 straight games or the bottom team, it's still a major league team. And how they're undefeated. They have not lost a single game.
Yeah, I
So
went into
boo on you, Cooney.
That's fine. I knew it was coming.
I went into it with I'm not putting Tampa Bay number one either. And then basically what I did for all of mine, like somebody said, it's still early and it's going to be early for another month, but I went to team statistics and just did a quick peruse. Is that a word?
Perusal?
Peruse.
Perused.
We're good at English.
I perused it, and like number one in batting, Tampa Bay. Number one in pitching, Tampa Bay. I didn't look at run differential, but I'm guessing they're number one far and above in that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they're at 57. The Brewers are at 25. I made a list.
Well,
So I had no choice but to make them number one, and then my other rankings kind of just fell in who had top 10 in both categories, and I tried to just layer them out like that. Corey?
No, yeah. I mean, I think Cooney made a bad choice. The
7-2 Brewers at that point versus a 10-0
at
Rays.
that point, the Rays had hit more home runs than they'd given up runs at all.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
you don't, and like their pitching has been outstanding. Taj Bradley made his debut today. Little callback there. Had 8
Mhm.
strikeouts, 5 innings, 3 earned, pretty good. Then the bullpen kind of showed a little blip on the radar there and gave up some runs, but
Who are
they
they
pulled-
playing, Boston?
yeah, they pulled it out 9-7.
So they beat a team that got swept by the Pirates. So once again, the Rays are showing their first place
Still
status.
undefeated.
No, I get it. I was torn between the two.
Well, you
But the Brewers.
picked the wrong, you backed the
And
wrong horse.
also, we're fact checking now, correct?
Sure.
That's something we
Nice.
talked about.
Maybe.
Cooney was wrong. The Brewers did not sweep the Cardinals. The Cardinals
Oh,
won
sorry.
one of those games.
I was
6-9.
wondering that when you said that as well.
Okay.
yeah.
So they were 2-1 against the Cubs and 2-1 against the Cardinals. Swept the
Yeah.
Mets. Okay. I don't know.
So
7-2 at
change
that
it
point.
to the Rays being first.
The other team that got a vote.
Change it,
I
Cooney.
had- Okay.
Change it.
Changed it.
No, do you
What?
verbally change it?
I changed it. The Brewers are still number 1 in my rankings because it was 3 days ago. I'll rank the Rays 1 next week if they're still undefeated. I put Arizona number 3. At that point, they had gone 5-3 against the Dodgers already, and they had split 2 games with the Padres. So in their first 10
Yeah, they
games,
look good.
they played the Dodgers 8 times and had a winning record against the Dodgers. So I gave Arizona my third place.
But according to you, the Dodgers are bad, right? That's something that's pretty well known so
no,
far.
I said the Diamondbacks would beat them.
And the Dodgers aren't going to make the playoffs,
Oh yeah,
so
I mean
then
they're
they're
bad.
I
mean, they're bad.
would
They're
based on
not
how
the
many
Cardinals or Cubs.
based on how many teams make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, you're pretty bad.
True.
Not necessarily. You factor in like they're in a stacked division, so it's going to be harder to get 3 teams out of there. And I said Arizona and San Diego would be ahead of the Dodgers.
This might be the most
If
spiciest
the
pod we've
Dodgers,
had.
if the Dodgers were in the Central, they'd win it by 30 games. So you got to factor in other things.
Hey,
All right, so there's our top 5.
The Central's the
Rays,
second best division.
Rays, Yankees, Brewers, Braves, Padres. Take a look and let us know what you think. Joe, what do you got for us?
Well, I know what I think about those rankings. I hope they change greatly by next week, but we'll see what happens there. What are we on to here in the old agenda? Pull that
That's
thing back
Sound in
up.
Sports. Runner on second.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to give
Can't
it
wait
up.
for
Oh
this.
yeah. I feel like everything I put down is just me wanting to rant about something. Which
Sit back and relax, gentlemen.
Yeah,
I
Ladies.
guess that's
typical.
every movie has to have the idiot relief. So I guess here I am. But so watching a few more games this week than I have the first couple weeks. The best sound in sports. I feel like maybe we'll get this right off the bat, or maybe it'll be fun as y'all try to guess.
You want us
What's-
to guess what we think the best sound
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say it right off the bat, but that's no fun. So let's go youngest to oldest. So I don't what's that? Corey first? Oh, he's the
Angel-
smartest.
Angel Hernandez making an announcement.
Oh man, that's a good one.
Okay.
is? That's pretty good.
That's wildly incorrect, and please don't say that again. Okay. Jay Lee?
Um,
Now I'm talking. Let me. When I say best sound in sports, that's what I mean. I mean like everything, all sports combined, every
Oh.
sound that could be happening in sports. This is the best sound.
that's any goal in soccer ever scored. Like this isn't even a question.
Oh,
There's not
God.
even a sound there. This is what is it?
Any sound. That's the announcer making the call. We're talking. He just mentioned Angel Hernandez making a call. That's not a sound either.
Okay. Okay.
I'm guessing you're talking about the crack of the bat when he's hit a homer. That's what I'm
My
guessing.
man.
Joe's never hit a homer, so he doesn't know, guys. But
Oh, I've hit
I've
hit more than one homer in my life. So thank you.
less than 3.
The crack
You
of the
got to swing
bat.
a bat.
The crack of the bat is the best sound in sports. So on that, I've hype this guy up to Cooney. I should have did it more in our first couple podcasts. And he could still flame out and be awful. But the reason I hyped this dude, Cooney, he's got a decent track record so far through the minors. But my boy Nolan Gorman for the Cardinals.
It was coming.
I remember it with like Big Mac. Of course, I mean he's Big Mac, but some guys it just makes a different sound, man. And Nolan Gorman, and from when he first came up, like you hear that sound and you turn and look and you're like, who is smashing the ball? And so a little recap of Gorman. He's had 2 basically game-winning homers the past 2 days, and a little recap of that sound just getting back into my mind of, hey, it's baseball season, and that crack of that bat, that wooden bat, is just so it's amazing. It's the best sound in sports. Anybody want to try to debate me on that it's not? Corey was obviously wrong.
I will admit that I was skeptical on Nolan Gorman before the season started. I was mouthing you guys saying he's not going to make enough contact to hear the crack of the bat. But so far, he's been key to what little offense they have. Him and Walker.
More to come on Walker. Hit you play, boys. All right. The second thing that is kind of a recap because it just came back to the forefront of my mind, which is a horrible place for it to be because it makes me want to beat my head up against that wall. So we've talked a little bit about the rule changes for this year and how we've kind of all been on board with most of those. And I mean, to be honest, I don't even notice most of them, and there hasn't been too many missed calls, bad calls, flaws with that so far. But one thing that got implemented in 2020 and has stayed, which we could pull some texts, which we won't.
Our texts are off limits.
Yeah, they're off limits. But and I'll open this up for a little bit of discussion. I can maybe be swayed. Then I'd also have something else I'd like to talk about. But the thing I don't like is a runner starting on second base in extra innings. And I guess I understand the concept is there, like some of these other newer rules where we don't want 20 inning games. We don't want to kill pitchers as we try to get through a 20 inning game. We want more scoring. But man, it's just something about it. I mean, you're giving a team a guy on second for doing nothing other than being in extras. You're giving them something they don't deserve. And I don't know. I guess I'm just a grumpy old man and I don't like to see a guy on second base. It kind of takes the home field advantage away. Maybe Corey can correct me on some statistics off of that. And maybe the home team really shouldn't have an advantage. I mean, if we want a fair game, let's make it as fair as we can, 50-50. But
do they have an advantage right now?
The home teteam?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get last at bat.
Yeah, they still have the last at bat. Like this doesn't change.
Yeah, but so you get a guy on second base. I mean, you can Louis Gonzalez, Mariano Rivera, and get like a little poop hit. It's a run. I mean, anything you bunt a guy over and hit a sac fly. That takes some skill, I guess. But anything is just and the visiting team has a run.
So why can't the home team just do that again? And then they do the next inning and the next inning, and then you have a 20 inning game.
Last year, I don't think any game went over like 13 or 14 innings.
Yeah.
And so mini rant over on that. But what are your guys' opinions on the guy starting on second in extra innings?
I don't think it should happen immediately. Like give them 3 innings of regular extras, and then like if you get to the 13th, then do it. I do think it just kind of takes, baseball. I think is a pretty dramatic sport, especially when you get into those extra inning games, and that definitely takes away from that. And I think if you can still offer that for a certain amount of time and people be on board with that, which I am at least, I think you do 3 innings of typical extra innings, and then after that, if you're still deadlocked, throw a guy out there and get it over with.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that's kind of where my head was going. I would even say, like, even before you get to the runner on second, start him at first and go from there. Like, putting him right at second, I do think, to your point, is I get it, speeding up the game and all that fun stuff, but it is kind of deflating, like just going into extras, and that's your reward. Also, my favorite thing is when we go to Corey for a stat and we're like, "Hey, Corey, do you have a stat?" And he shakes his head no. That's also my favorite. So, as the stat man, he's living.
It was the most ambiguous stat request. Like, I don't know what he wanted from me.
Hey. Earn your keep, son.
I'm trying to find. What was it 2 days ago? It happened. Reds, Braves went into extras. And that's how it was. Like Dylan Lee came in, shut down the Reds. They barely hit the ball over 50 miles per hour and scored a run.
Mhm.
So I can't find the stats on that. But yeah, I'm with Corey, and maybe give him an inning or two. Starting at first base would be kind of weird because you could get a ground ball double play right off the bat and have 2 outs instantly, which would be kind of funny. But I'm surprised we don't see the home team especially bunt more. If the away team doesn't score, 2 bunts, you're done. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, obviously, the point of the rule was speed games up and not hurt pitchers and not have long games. So it's worked. The reason why they put it in there. But yeah, it's still weird as a fan for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that y'all are a little bit a little bit on board with me on that. A couple things I wrote down was I took this to like slow pitch softball. Like everybody starts with a 1-1 count, you know. I don't does that get you? I guess maybe that's a 30 inning game, I guess, if you're doing that, but maybe it takes your pitch counts down. And then I had a few other things written down that I'm kind of too embarrassed to even say. One was like, if you more slow pitch, you walk a guy, the guy behind him walks. Every hit you get an extra bag, so you get a single. It's actually a double. You get a triple. Hey, you just won the game. There's a homer. So kind of maybe went off the deep end there a little bit on that, but yeah, I'm glad you guys entertained me with that, because I know I ranted about it. Did anybody, not that we have to go into the context of the text, but did anybody like the game that I created when we talked about?
That sounds even worse than this.
Okay.
You're not on anything there.
All right. All right. I'll pass it on to Jared.
Oh man. Real quick, I'm gonna give a quick shout out. I'm trying to do one of these every week. We've shouted out. I already forgot. That's bad of me. But I know we've shouted out Corey's mom, and Coach Schultz. But I'm gonna shout out my lovely mother.
And Backwood Banshees.
Backwood Banshees. Yep. My lovely mother. She called me the other day. Said she listened to, I believe, the first episode of the podcast, and she said, "Hey, you guys are doing really well." And I said, "Mom, we don't even know what we're doing." So it was pretty cool
Secrets.
pretty cool to hear that from people who, you know, we're trying to put this together for fun and for you guys. So it's cool to hear back from everyone who is listening to it. We appreciate all that. So keep sending the love this way for sure. All right. So kind of to talk about, I guess, off of what Joe said, of like the best sound in baseball. Normally when you hear a solid crack of the bat, that normally means like that ball's gone. I'm going to talk about something that I appreciate. I know I've talked about all the fun things MLB is doing to bring the fans in and have some fun. These home run celebrations are getting crazy, and it is one of my favorite things in baseball right now to watch. The Cardinals are pretty tame with the salt shaker, the pepper grinder, whatever you want to call it. But man, there are some cool ones. Do you guys have anyone that sticks out to you that's like your favorite? Because I've got a list of like the most popular ones right now. But is there one that, like, when they get back in the dugout, they do something cool that you guys have seen?
Well, I don't know if we can talk about Baltimore's on air. I don't know if that changes our rating.
The dong bong? I'll say it.
Dong bong.
Didn't they clarify what it meant?
They wanted to be called something hose, home run hose, homer hose.
Well, they do something now too, so that's funny. I didn't see that one, but now, even when they get like a double or something like that,
good, yeah.
The hydration station where they all get water and they spit it out onto the field. So that's pretty cool.
While the person's doing the sprinkler at second.
Yeah. So pretty cool.
The samurai
Uh-huh.
hat from the Angels.
Yes, that
That's
one's
the
great.
That's
That
what I
is
was thinking
great.
of. Yeah.
That one's so great. Pittsburgh's got the sword, so that one's pretty cool. I saw that one the other night.
That's ripped off of the Braves. That one's not cool.
Okay, well, cool. It's under the
Airbo
Pittsburgh
or
Pirates,
80. They're
so
doing that for
Are they-
3 years.
What are they doing? Like sheathing the sword, or
let's see. The Braves right now have the big hat.
Yeah, I got a picture.
Have you
pulled
seen
up.
those? Those are pretty
So,
cool.
This fan just like, I don't know, Saturday's game maybe, had this big hat on by the dugout, and the players like, hey, let us have that. And so this is some fan's hat that he wore to the game, and the players loved it and started using it for the home run celebration. So
Mhm.
Ozzy Albies hit his 100th career homer yesterday. Of course, he already looks tiny, and they always make fun of him for it. And he's got the hat on, and he looks like, this is not a very good picture, but looks like a little bitty kid. I don't know if you can see that.
Mhm.
He's
It's a
got-
giant hat.
He
Yeah.
does look like a little kid. That's hilarious.
Matt also
there's
put
a
it on. It didn't look that bad when Albies put it on.
There's
It was
a
quite
few
funny.
more here. The inflatable dumbbells in Boston. I know they had the shopping cart for a while. That was one of my favorites, getting pushed in the shopping cart. But then there's one more. Oh, and the Reds have a Viking helmet and cape. So this
Yeah,
also
see that.
brings me to my next piece of this, because I love all the stuff that they're trying to make it fun, make people want to watch this game. So what would you want your home run celebration to be? That was my question on top of this.
Oh man, did you
'Cause
give
I
us
got
a heads
mine.
up on this?
No.
Nope, I'll go ahead and go so you can think about it for a second. But
Okay, yeah.
if I hit a 400 and something foot shot,
Dude, if I had a
And my-
370-foot shot, I'm doing it.
sure. If I hit a home run at all, I guess I should say
Yes.
that, because it wouldn't happen. I'll include inside the park, because I probably got better luck at doing that. If my jersey isn't getting ripped off when I get into that dugout, then I'm on the wrong team. I think that would be hilarious. Get me a new jersey every time I hit a home run. So that's one of mine that I thought would be really, really funny. I know they do it if they win the ball game, but I think that'd be hilarious to look into a dugout and see just someone's jersey getting destroyed.
So this is a disclaimer here as we're talking about home run celebrations. The 4 of us combined in high school had
I have 0.
2.5 homers. I'll give Joe half credit for his.
What do you?
How many did you have,
I
Corey? You
touched
had
all
homers?
4 bases,
Probably
so you
3.
can put another.
You had 3
Yeah, Corey-
homers?
Yeah.
Corey had some.
We need to have a pod home run derby. That's it. Pod home run
Ooh,
derby.
nice.
I probably hit the
I
farthest
had
one.
2, and the one legit homer, I stopped at second because I didn't think I could hit a homer. And I don't know
Also,
if I would do that. So I like the guy's like, homer. I'm like, oh, okay. I kept going.
disclaimer, can we also account for how many at bats each of us had in high school? Because I think I'm at a pretty fair disadvantage there.
Yeah,
Yeah, your
Jared
ratio is about the
Jared
same.
could have like half of mine.
Yeah,
For
thank
some
you.
reason, because for some reason I hit for him sometimes. I don't know why.
A lot of
Well,
people did. I don't know
this
why.
is when I was
But
coaching, so I'm not sure who to give credit to, but we came up with one. I don't remember if you guys were on this team or not, but we came up with the shotgun, hit the homer, and then shoot the homer down like a skeet as you're
that's
running.
real Pike County. Good job.
Yeah. Oh yeah, total Pike
makes
County.
sense.
But I learned that when I was coaching, so I don't know who came up with it, but I love it. Hit the homer, turn around, shoot it out of the sky, drop the bat, and go.
I dig it.
Corey?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that it's that original. I mean, I like anytime like people have a signature move. Like I grew up watching Sammy Sosa and him doing the hops, and he might have hopped once or twice when he shouldn't have.
Got
But
to go for it.
I mean, like the just kind of yeah, I guess so. But those little simple things, like I think a hop would be sufficient to me, or just something simple. Like if I saw somebody shooting skeet every time they hit a homer, like they're getting it in the dome after a while. Like that's too much.
What about their jersey getting
See-
ripped off? How would that make you
Well,
feel?
In the
that's happening in the
dugout, it's
dugout
okay.
at least. Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you're sitting out there, like you're walking to first, and yeah, it's like nope, sorry. Like I'm all for fun, but that's a little bit too much.
How about if I just
See, I
stay
think if
wave at it
you're,
until it goes out?
That's fine.
Okay,
I'm all-
maybe I phrased the question wrong. I'm not talking about pimping the thing. 'Cause
Oh,
that's a whole different category. I'm talking like you get back in the dugout, because that's where these celebrations are coming from. Yeah.
Okay, we got real shotgun to the dugout.
Oh my god, I don't think you could do that.
gosh.
21 gun
So,
salute to the baseball.
so a few points there. I think if a pitcher gives up a bomb, you can't say or do nothing in retaliation. You gave up the bomb. Now, if somebody's pimping something and they get a single out of something that should have been a triple, as a coach, you should probably bench and or cut that player. But I went to pimping homers too, so I don't have enough time to think of a dugout celebration. I'm sorry. Number one, I would say we've spoke a lot about bat flips on homers, so I immediately go to whatever the most outrageous bat flip you can get away with without like getting called out. Start with that. And then, man, I would need more time to think of something awesome, but I'd probably rip off Ric Flair and I'd come in from third base, just shoulder shrugging, probably all 90 feet. Is that how far the bases are? Yeah, all 90 feet. And then when I got into home plate, I'd hit that elbow and just boom, straight down on it. So
Oh, I was picturing Ric
a lot
Flair
of
flop.
woos.
You just like walk in the whole plate, just flop on the plate, and just lay there.
Yeah, I mean, and then get up and woo in the pitcher's face to make sure he throws at you next time you're in the box.
Okay. Well, maybe next time for the pod, I'll bring that question so we got more time to think about like what your
You don't
perfect
like
home run
it,
shot would look like. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
but that's all I got, Corey. I'm on to you, my friend.
All right. So there were a couple interesting plays at the plate that happened this past week. And again, like my focal point of the baseball field does not extend that far into it. There's home plate, and then that's maybe like a 20-foot radius from that, and that's kind of where I like to stay. But there's the rule changes about collisions at home plate and how people are supposed to both the catcher and the base runner are supposed to give each other space to work. I guess the first one we can talk about, and Aaron, you might be able to elaborate on this a little bit more. I've watched a few clips, but Rougned Odor came in and kind of just ran into Travis d'Arnaud, and he eventually was out. I struggled with this one a lot about whether or not he should have been out anyway, but the rule is written poorly. Basically, it says that they can't deviate from the path to initiate contact with the catcher, and if they can slide to avoid contact, they should, which I think that would be what applies to Rougned because he just didn't.
He almost high stepped when he got close. His knees changed position.
Okay.
It was weird.
Well, and because the throw did bring d'Arnaud into that lane, but still, like, if you know a play is coming, I think how this rule is written, you should have to slide. So, it was a weird thing. So that actually resulted in d'Arnaud going on the 7-day concussion IL. And the other, I think, bigger storyline was O'Neal Cruz doing something. I don't know what he was doing. Like to me, it looked like there was a lane on the kind of foul territory side for him. Like it almost would have been, I thought of it like to do a hook slide over there or something. Like that would have been a much better chance. I mean, I think the throw beat him pretty easily, but the guy like just beeline straight for the catcher and just slid, feet first into him. And like that was one of my favorite things. It's like, what are you gonna do to me? I am protected here. Like I would love to just, block the plate because when we're younger, like you slide anyway, like you did, you know that you can't hit the catcher. I have got hit though before, but I just can't understand what his thought process there was, and and then I'm all with because it was Sevi Zavala, I think is how you say his name.
I believe so.
And he was talking to Cruz, and I was like, yeah, you should. Like, what are you doing, O'Neal? Like, it was the most awkward slide. It was like surefire way to hurt yourself. Like that, there's like, I am not
And
surprised at all that
he
got.
did.
Yeah. Well, that's what there was one tweet that I really liked. And it was this guy, and he says he slides like an accountant who only plays baseball once a year at the church picnic.
That's good.
I was like,
That's a
no.
good description.
Like, and so like Zavala yells at Cruz. I don't know what he says, but Carlos Santana's coming up to hit. He obviously didn't like it, and he just ignores Cruz. Everybody besides the trainer ignores Cruz, which I don't know if there's a reason for that because they all realized that this was the dumbest thing that you could have done. But so then bench is clear, and like I try to look up videos and try and find McCutcheon in this discussion because to me he's probably the biggest veteran presence leadership thing, and I could never find a good enough video to figure out where he was because I just imagined McCutcheon's just on the outside like, oh, I don't like this is your fault, man. Like I'm not getting involved in this. Like that was a dumb play. You've hurt yourself. You've now hurt the team. Like there were 10 other things you could have done. You are our starting star shortstop, and now you can't play. Like I was hoping I would find something like whenever Hunter Strickland threw it, Bryce Harper.
And Posey's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Posey, like Harper gets to Strickland before Posey even gets out from behind the plate. Like Posey's just like, I'm not getting involved in this. Like this is Posey's just like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Like, but you know, R.I.P. Michael Morse's career after that. But
That's true.
It was an interesting I think Cruz, I guess you call that a slide. It was
No.
nice that he at least yeah. Well,
So do you
That's fair.
know? I've only seen the collision itself. Where was the throw coming from? Like, what was the play? Because
was at
O'Neal
third.
he looked confused, like he didn't know what Sabby was going to do, and so like he was like starting to slide, not slide, and then just kind of flopped on his own leg. And
I think it was a chopper to third, and so it was like as soon as ran on contact kind of play.
yeah, but like so he immediately like switched to fair territory and ran basically because
Which is
Zavala,
smart.
well, but and Zavala was in front of the plate, so basically at that point they're on a trajectory to collide.
Now the runner should run fair territory there because especially if you're 6'7", that third
Yeah.
baseman got to throw around you. So
Oh yeah, but
I didn't know the play went, but to me, like O'Neal was surprised that the play was going to be on him.
I think as soon as you see like
It's too late.
Zavala reacting to something coming and seeing where he is at, then you go to the outside because I think there is a chance for him to at least make it interesting, and
Yeah,
instead he just like
because Zavala had a jump too, so like it was it was just weird. Yeah,
it was such a dumb choice, and it's like people want to see this guy play, and then he does that, and it's a a Pirates thing to do. I guess the Pirates are still doing good.
Yeah. I almost think the Odor one is almost like, I don't want to say like anticipated, because I feel like that's the kind of player that he is.
Yeah.
You know, so like seeing that, I'm kind of like, well, that's him. Not calling him like a dirty player, but I mean he's had altercations in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best hits in baseball, not with his bat but with his fist against Batista's chin. So that one to me, when I saw that, I wasn't too surprised. The O'Neal one, I was definitely, oh man, what was that? Like it was like when he went to slide, it just looked wrong from the get go.
Yeah. Yeah, the Odor thing, the only thing I had a problem with is the fact that he even tried slide. Like, yeah, the throw took Travis into the line. Clearly, it's going to be bang bang play, and he had every intention of. That's why I think his last step looked like his knee went higher. Like he had every intention of hitting Darno. The Braves didn't say anything about it, though. They said it was just a bang bang play and it happened. So, but this is Travis's fourth concussion. So
Holy
he
cow.
has 7-day IL is one thing, but dealing with concussion issues as a catcher is a whole nother thing. So who knows? We'll see how long he's out for. They haven't said what they expect him to do. So
Yeah, it seems like when catchers get into that range of number of concussions, it's a long road back, or it's there's maybe not a road back, but
Yeah.
I mean he seemed, I guess maybe yeah, I don't know that I've ever had a concussion, but he seemed to be doing okay after it. I mean, obviously he's on the IL
Yeah,
now.
he caught the rest of that inning.
Yeah.
Didn't have to bat, and then Sean Murphy came out to catch the next inning. So
Yeah, well,
I've never caught, so I'm sure he had adrenaline going for the rest of that inning. And then when he sat down in the dugout and took time to be evaluated, they're like, okay, something's off.
Yeah. But I just kind of wanted to talk about those interesting plays. Like I said, I've been ran over before, and it again
You
not
want to talk
that
about
bad.
that experience?
Oh, I could, I guess. We were playing at home. I believe Barry Wright was the home plate umpire. I know that's an important, or Barely Wright, depending on how you want to, how you're feeling about him. That particular.
Oh, we just lost a listener there.
Sorry, Barry. Oh,
Yeah.
he also didn't kick this guy out, but we were playing North Green, and it was a bigger fella, for North Green, and it was one of those, like, because again, when you're catching, you have the field vision, and you are a lot of times responsible for figuring out where a ball needs to go as it's coming in, and I think Jordan was playing shortstop, and he got the cutoff throw, and like this guy was probably farther along towards home than, but like I would not have said like, hey, send it here. But again, this guy was a little bigger, maybe not so fast. So it was going to be a bang bang throw, and it was a similar situation where I think the throw kind of took me up the line, maybe just like half a step or a step, and I don't know if this particular guy didn't know how to slide or didn't want to slide, but just kind of, I wouldn't even say he was. It wasn't even like a like an aggressive thing. It was almost just kind of like he fell onto me, but definitely knocked me over, and it was a cool play. Like it was kind of a bang bang where it was like ball hit my glove, then guy hit me, and I fell over, and then
And for our listeners out there, Corey's like what, 5'9",
yeah,
130 pounds
but
at high school?
yeah, sure. But yeah, this guy's probably 250 or something like that. But and then Barry, all he cares about is whether or not I have the ball. And at that point, Coach Schultz comes out, and I think Devin was playing left field at the time. And he's like, "Oh, you guys want to fight? I got a guy in left field who loves to fight, or something like that, or I don't know." It's a very Coach Schultz thing to say, but
Devin was a wrestling stud, for anybody who doesn't know.
yeah.
So obviously, I would have been playing because you just named two of the people that were in the same grade as me. And you're telling me we didn't fight this fool?
No, I mean he was out. I think when we did handshakes, he like said something to me.
I mean, obviously, the way you just said the names and what positions they're playing, I was obviously on the bench, so I should have came off the bench.
Jared
and
was
just
close.
this guy.
I don't know where you were. You weren't that. I only remember who the throw came from, and then the
Man.
fact that Coach Schultz said that, hey, we've got this guy in left field that we could.
That's hilarious.
Would fight.
I
But,
apologize for being a bad teammate.
No, I think they call that settling it the old Navy way. Have two guys fight, and the first one to die loses.
that's one
Okay.
of my favorite memories, I guess. There used to be a cool picture, like I forget, there was a paper covering the game, and like they got a really cool picture, which probably doesn't exist anymore because we're old now. But
I'll find it for you.
Mama Tammy's got to find it for us. So my shout out to
Yep.
Tammy again this week.
We're gonna need that.
Wait for it.
Moms keep
Tammy,
everything.
Find us Corey getting leveled by the bear.
yeah, I used to know the guy's name. He seemed like a nice fella.
All righty, guys. Well, we're going to move on to our forecast, what we are looking forward to the next coming weeks. And so Joe's going to get us rolling here with some of his thoughts.
Yeah. So some upcoming interesting events. Your boy's gonna be in California this weekend.
Okay.
Work-related trip. So
Okay, whatever. Don't have to sugarcoat it.
gonna get my way to LA on Sunday. I think Sunday. That's a day game, right? Yeah. They play the Cubs, and I've never been to LA, so sorry guys. I'm gonna visit a stadium without you, but
Wow.
we'll we'll get out there
Doesn't
at
count.
some point. I'll get some pictures. I'll make sure they get up on Twitter. Powerhouse matchup. Urias is going up against Smiley, so two monster aces there. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I don't know if we'll be able to squeeze a Padres game in. That would be sweet as well if we could see the Padres, but I'm going with a pretty big Dodgers fan, so we wanted to make sure we saw a Dodgers game. Is that on our series prediction this week?
It is not. We did not include that one. Figured the Cubs would sweep them. It wouldn't be a contest.
That's true.
Yeah, the Dodgers are bad, remember?
And the Cubs got Smiley pitching. Quick story on Smiley. Cooney, you probably remember this. We had a guy named Smiley on our team. This is his nickname. And he had the nickname because he smiled all the time. We watched this kid take a fly ball to the face, didn't touch his glove or nothing, to the face. He came up bleeding and just smiling ear to ear. We called him Smiley before, during, and after that event.
Mm-hmm. Cemented it. That's good.
Yep. The other thing, I don't know, I guess it's kind of an upcoming event because it could end with me having a professional contract to play baseball.
I'm so ready for this.
So I guess it starts. I don't think anybody's ready for this. I guess it starts with the story that was viral there for a couple of days about the no-hit loss of the AA team. The Trash Pandas, I'm not exactly sure where they're out of. Does anybody know where they're out
They're
of?
the Angels AA.
Angels AA. So
Mhm.
they pitched a no-hitter and they lost 7-5. Are you kidding me?
It's impressive.
And I think
it was 5-0 going to the
Yeah,
next one.
I think they scored all 7 runs in one inning.
The ninth inning.
And so here's how that inning went. Walk. I mean, me saying this word this many times, this quickly may result in
Good thing
destruction.
we've got a pitching instructional video from last week. We can send them.
It's already been sent.
Maybe I'll be on the mound here in the next week too. So walk, pop out. Okay, good job. Walk, strikeout. Okay, now nobody has scored. There's 2 outs and nobody has scored. One more out and they win the game. Next one, walk. So it's now
Base loaded.
3-1. No, that's 4 walks.
Oh, that's 4 already.
That's 4. 3-1. Fly ball to center. Guy drops it. 3 base air. So now they're losing 4-3 with a guy on third. Hit by pitch. Hit by pitch. Hit by pitch. Walk. Wild pitch. It's now 7-3. Hit by pitch. Next at batter. So that's 4 hit by pitches in one inning.
Yeah, somebody got hit twice, it sounds like.
And then it finally ends with a strikeout. But that's your AA Rocket City Trash Pandas. I think 2 things. Well, I think a lot of things, but for 2 things here. Let's apologize to pandas around the world. They didn't deserve what this team did to their name. And let's take Panda out of the name and just call them the Rocket City Trash because holy smokes.
Nice.
That
First
It's
off, you know
more
what a
at-
trash panda is?
Yeah, it's a raccoon.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
raccoon. Okay,
I'm
just making
aware.
sure.
I'm aware.
Because you kept saying
But-
Dodge last week and you didn't know you were saying it. So
No,
I
I'm-
was just checking.
Like you said, we all grew up in Pike County. We know what trash
Okay,
pandas are. But still, their name is there, and I feel like they deserved a
I can
reprieve.
relate to that game. I actually threw a no hitter and we tied in junior league. So, but we didn't
yeah,
lose.
but I'm
we
guessing you
tied.
didn't give up 7 runs.
No,
What was the score?
I gave up. It was 0-0. We just
Yeah.
could do nothing. So
That's
Acceptable.
awesome. And we wonder why the Angels haven't been able to crack the playoffs in a few years, and this is their minor league system.
Well, because it started with Ben Joyce at least, who's the guy that came out of Tennessee that throws like 105 or something crazy like
Throws too hard. Yeah, so you gotta throw
that. Yeah,
soft.
that must be the problem. But yeah, I mean the fact that it was one error is the like
That was
you,
the game.
you would
That
expect.
was game over with a can of corn.
Well, I'm just saying like if they score 7 runs with no hits, you'd expect to see, I don't know, 4 errors maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's just one error, yeah. But I guess if you just keep walking and hitting people, yeah.
Yeah. Wild. Which kind of leads into the second part of my upcoming interesting events. My pitch to GMs, scouts, independent owners, anybody who pays somebody else to have them play baseball. I have a PowerPoint. Golly, I'm really embarrassed of this PowerPoint, to be honest, but I'm just going with it.
I'm looking for the unsubscribe button. Hang on.
Hang on. Give me a shot. We can always cut this out, right? Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
I think that's my favorite thing week to week. Whatever Skip puts in the agenda, I'm like, I don't know what this means, but I'm ready for the
I
ride.
know. I'm here for it.
Okay, you guys got this?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I
If
see
you're
the
listening to this
smallest
on
picture
Apple
of yourself.
Podcasts or podcasts, audio.
Oh
only,
yeah.
Find us on YouTube at Rake Your Position. You will not be
This
disappointed.
is I don't see a timestamp anywhere on here, but
Mm-mm.
and I'll try to do my best to elaborate on what these mean. I'll probably fail profusely at that, but it's a slideshow, and I know last week it was determined that roughly the MLB average pitcher is roughly 15 times better than me. That was determined, so that's like the baseline where this is coming from. And I would argue that
That's a really good mugshot of you, by the way.
that's actually my ID badge for work. So thanks.
I figured I've never seen Joe take a professional picture before, so
Okay, so I'll need limited interruptions throughout this,
My apologies. Go ahead, sir.
because usually you'll interrupt, not you, Jay Lee. I'm just saying, like, people in general will interrupt when they get when maybe they hear something that I think I have, like, I can play the devil's advocate, or I have a counterpoint. I'm using I'll say when I get past it, but I'm using strictly math. Math has no variance. This is Corey
Oh, boy.
knows this. So
Sure,
this is
numbers
strictly
never
math.
lie.
Numbers never lie. You hit, you play. All right. So using the baseline that the average MLB pitcher is roughly 15 times better than me. Again, I would argue that that's high, but we're going to go 15 times. And I still feel like through this, I can maybe get a contract out of it. So we all know, or I guess we don't all know, but us four know that I was never a pitcher in my life. I pitched like very few innings, especially towards the end of my career, which, stopped at about 19. But I was always a position player, a hitter. I didn't pitch. So the fact that I've devoted 100% of my time, basically 0% of my time to pitching and 100% of my time to hitting and playing the field, we're going to say that the average hitter to me is only 7.5 times, because I spend 100% of my time doing hitting and whatnot. So as a hitter, might get a little quick, or might get super drug out. I'm not sure. I apologize for both outcomes. So as a hitter, right now you can see that the average hitter is 7.5 times better than me in the MLB. I'd say that's probably accurate. And there's basically 3 outcomes as a hitter. Here's where we'll take a little bit of play with the numbers, not much, because over 90% of the time, you're either getting a hit, you're getting walked, or you're making an out. 2/3 of those are in favor of me. So if you take 66% of that to the 7.5, you now have the average big league hitter as only 2.475 times better than me. You still wouldn't sign somebody who's 250% worse than your player, right? There's still ground to make up here, but there's more PowerPoint slides. So here is where probably my best skills come into play. You're not only hitting as a position player, right? What else are we doing? Jay Lee?
I'm not interrupting. I'm listening. I apologize.
You're not only hitting as a position player, you're also playing the field. You're playing defense. That's 50% of the game, of which I excel at, and I would play at an average level. So you take 50% there, and you have that 50% into that there, hitting and fielding. I'm now only the average player is now only 1.2375 times better than me. So I'm getting close to getting a contract just with this. Now, here's where it's going to get a little, going to have to use a little conjecture, maybe a slight leap of faith, mostly still backed up by facts and evidence. Yes, Jaylee?
I just want to say for the viewers that can't see this too, as the math has gotten smaller, the picture of Joe has only gotten bigger. I just want to point that out, that's been my favorite part so far. So continue.
Yeah, again,
It's actually quite scary.
I'm not made to be viewed or seen, but if you're going to watch this, try to hit us up on YouTube. So, okay, here's where I had to bring in more evidence to state my case that I deserve a contract. So we're going to completely change gears here, guys. Try to follow. And what I'd like for you to say is, what do you know about Jim McCormick? Does anybody know anything about Jim?
No.
He had a 10-year big league career.
Thank you, Jay Lee. I have a little slide here that has a few stats I didn't have for our listeners. I didn't have that he played 10 years. So Jay Lee knew that. Good job. A couple other things that he did was he played for Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Chicago. And he was born in Glasgow, United Kingdom. Yes,
Sweet
Aaron?
mustache.
I'm just enjoying the ride.
Okay. A few more notes on Jim. He had 265 total wins from 80 to 86. He averaged 32 wins and 469 innings pitched a season. He's also career 236 batting average, 76 WAR. I know you feel like this is really drawn out. I'm getting there. So what I want to go back to is here, the last point. Born in Glasgow, United Kingdom. So recently, I did 23andMe, where it states your traits, where it states your ancestry. And surprise, surprise, your boy's Caucasian, but 98.6% United Kingdom. Number 1 town, Glasgow, United Kingdom. So what I want to point out here is your boy and Jimmy got some similarities. So we've seen many times where family lineage, and sometimes you just got it. It's in your blood, yada, yada. I don't think it's a stretch using math and using genealogy to say that we probably have a lot of the very similar skill set when it comes to baseball. Let's go back to what he did. So let's just see here. From 80 to 86, his peak averaged 32 wins and 469 innings a season. I looked up last year, 2022 numbers. Average wins of the top 20 players, 16. Average innings per starter, 158. He was also a 236 career batting average. Last year, the average batting average was 243 for MLB hitters. So, wrapping this all up with me and Jimmy being direct descendants, it's now been determined that I should have been a pitcher because of what he was able to do. And if I had devoted my time to pitching instead of playing the field and hitting, I would be roughly 250, let me get this right here, 250% better than the average MLB pitcher. So now I'm back to pitching after I had switched to hitting at the beginning through research. I'm now 2.5 times better than the average major league pitcher. And that concludes my argument. I'll let the GMs and the scouts determine whether or not I should be signed, but I've just proven to you that.
Did you also mention that it was in the 1800s
least-
this guy pitched to?
I'm not sure. I just saw it was in the 80s.
I
No, the
assume that's the
1800s.
1800s. Yes.
So
Oh my
Again,
gosh.
I thought that
Wow.
would take like 20 seconds to
don't
get
e-
through, and I feel like it went a lot longer than that.
I
But I
don't even
appreciate
know
you
how to
That's the
listening.
follow
whole
that.
pod right there.
So that
Wow.
was in our upcoming events / things we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to being signed as soon as this is seen.
This weekend trip to LA. Sign the boy up. That was amazing. I don't even know how we follow that up.
Yeah. Just go to the next segment.
Rick,
Right,
Jared, you got to follow that up. You got a good topic.
I got a couple good topics. I think what's weird is I think both weeks, what Joe's put in there and what I put in there have kind of followed each other, and we haven't talked.
Bird
at all.
brains.
No, we went home runs, sound of the bat, home run celebrations, that goes hand in hand. He's
Mhm.
talking about pitching, which I hope you get that contract, Skip.
You know, Jim
Um,
McCormick's a lot like Jordan Walker.
Identical, I think.
Yeah.
It looks like Joe.
But
Looks like Jordan.
what I'm looking forward to and how I'm gonna try to phrase this is, we talk about it every single week. Again, we're 12 games in the season, but I'm looking forward to some Cardinals starting pitching showing up. I'm gonna run through our starters right now, and you tell me if this is a good ERA to have after 3 games, and you tell me which pitcher you think this might be. So in 3 games, an ERA of 10.05. Any names to that number?
That's Nicholas.
Yeah.
Great. That's you guys should know that quick. That's my point. That's a bad ERA, right? We should not know who that number is attached to that easily.
Hey, you got paid though.
Hey, you know what the Cardinals do. The worse you play, the more extensions you get, aka Matt Carpenter. I'm not traveling that road. Let's do 8.18.
I don't even know another starter. Wayno's
Yeah,
hurt.
Flaherty, but he's actually got a low ERA.
Let's go with
He's a lefty.
Steven Matz.
Correct.
Matz,
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, and that's also after 3 games. So that's frustrating. So combined, so we're up to 18 between 2 pitchers. That's good to have on your starting staff. And then let's go to 9 flat.
Woodford. Is he
Good
starting?
job.
Is
Yeah.
that him?
Yep.
I know he
So
started
it's
one of those
amazing.
birds.
It's amazing. And then we can go down to Jordan Hicks. That's a 10.18.
Can't throw
No,
strikes.
10.8,
Sign me.
yeah.
Sign me.
Because he throws too hard.
Flaherty, he's got a 1.7, but he's also got 50,000 walks.
Yeah.
So take that for what you want. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. Who's going to step up? I'm not concerned about Montgomery. He's had 2 solid outings recently. So at least there's that piece that's pretty exciting. Gallegos looks great. So honestly, Genesis Cabrera's come up and looked pretty decent. That's the one I was like, yeah, that's not possible for him, but he's looked pretty good. Helsley seems to be calming down a little bit, but any pitching will help. Skip might get signed by the Cardinals to go help the pitching. That's how insane it is. But what we're going to talk about more, and I'm glad I looked this up before I jumped on the pod. Sometimes I'm really good at guessing things in baseball. Sometimes I'm really bad, aka most of our games. But right now it looks like, and I know you guys are like that kid in Arizona, but right now this kid Jordan Walker is on fire. Just a quick little rundown of his stats: 47 at bats, 15 hits, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. With a 319 average, 360 OBP, 489 slugging, 849 OPS. This kid's playing. I'm not gonna say like lights out, but like he's electric, and it seems like each single game, like he is already improved. Like it's weird how confident he looks up in the batter's box. He's getting right field down. Got an insanely stronger arm than I anticipated, and I don't know. This kid's exciting. I think this is the only thing that's really getting me excited to watch more Cardinal baseball, is to see if he can keep this hitting streak going. And I wrote something down because I know I would have forgot it. But today, 12 consecutive games, he's the first kid under 20 or under in the last 111 years to do that. So that's a pretty cool stat. And he actually did it in the bottom of the ninth or the top of the ninth today to continue that streak. So that's pretty cool. But that's what I'm looking forward to, how he continues to stay on this hot streak, be the spark plug for the St. Louis Cardinals, I think. And I mean, again, he's 20 years old. So that's the other exciting piece. Super, super young. And he's playing like he's played the game for 50 years. So that's me. That's what I got. And on to Corey.
Quickly on that, I'll just because I'm obviously a Cardinals fan as well. You know, you see young guys come up and for 12 games, I mean, I'd give you Bo Hart as an example. The dude hit like 412 games, but you can always kind of tell, hey, they're playing way above their head. Their BABIP is 600, but Walker just doesn't really look out of place. So that's, you know, at 20 years old, man, it's crazy. Just to keep gloating on him a little bit. Sorry, Corey.
And I mean, I know Cooney saw one of his first home run, but both home runs you've had, like they have left the ballpark extremely quick. Like his swing is pretty amazing, personally. Nothing to add there over in Atlanta town, or
No, I like him.
okay.
They finally got somebody there. Homegrown talent that might actually stick around.
I mean, from my side of the fence, it seems like they always get people that seem to stick around and just win and be annoying, and I hate them.
They've
But,
had a bad run of outfielders. Like all these guys are, next big thing, and then
Colby Rasmus was okay for a little bit,
not for the
like
Cardinals.
a few games.
That's because Walker's a third baseman.
Yeah, well,
O'Neill, Carlson. I don't know.
have we decided
Walker looks
Carlson's
different.
bad already? Like, has he shown that he's bad long enough that we've decided that he is for sure bad?
He was supposed to be like
bad.
He's supposed to be a front runner for like rookie of the year stuff, and he's definitely went the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, slightly above average when the expectations were
Perennial all-star.
I mean,
yeah.
the expectations were through the roof, but I don't think he's terrible. I mean, he's a switch hitting outfielder, so I think he could start on a lot of teams, obviously. But like, I don't think he's terrible.
Yep. All right. Well, I wanted to talk about kind of moving forward, some guys that may be underperforming and overperforming based on kind of their deeper stats and some of their more advanced analytics. And kind of the first guy I was going to talk about is the overperformer, and I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that it's an overperformer because he's not performing very well, but he is still performing quite a bit better than his stats say that he should be, and that's Manny Machado. Just signed the 11-year, $350 million contract, and his StatCast page looks horrendous. He's hitting .250 and has no home runs. So again, not necessarily an overperformer already, but his expected batting average is 180, and it's just he's 30th percentile in average exit velocity, 8th percentile in hard hit percentage, 4th percentile in expected slugging. So he's a good enough hitter that I think both the advanced like I think the advanced stats are going to improve and he'll improve as well. But just kind of looking at it right now, he's not performing well, but he should probably have worse numbers than he does. It's just not looking so good for him to start the year. And I feel like you see that quite a bit of people signing these big deals, and then they kind of maybe get in their heads a little bit and just kind of fall off.
Fully guaranteed, man. What? I mean, if maybe you have the drive to like want to be the best, but once you get a 300 milli, I mean, where that motivation leaves a little bit.
Yeah. And if you really want to talk about overperformers, the maybe the biggest overperformer is Luis Ariz, because he's hitting 500. But I didn't think this really applied because his expecting batting average is still to almost 340. So it's like he's still really good.
Mhm.
Got that first ever cycle yesterday for the
Mhm.
Marlins.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about it, that trade, it looks so far just like it was such a great deal for both teams.
Mhm.
Like Pablo is shoving in Minnesota. Luis is doing great with the Marlins. Like I feel like you especially I don't feel like you see a lot of trades with that's a big league talent for a big league talent. Like a lot of times it's the sellers that are
Mhm.
especially one for one too. Like just it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to see. Like it seems like it worked out.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Twins had a plethora of top second base prospects or guys that could play second. And of course, Marlins have been loaded with pitching forever, so it was neat that it worked out so well for both so far.
Yeah. And then as far as kind of the underperformer, looking at the stats, we've talked quite a bit about Corbin Carroll in the Diamondbacks outfield, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Alek Thomas, who's also a young, very exciting player. Also very fast, not as fast as Corbin Carroll, I don't think, but his StatCast page looks pretty good. Meanwhile, he's hitting 200 with an OPS of 596. He's got an expected batting average of almost 300. His expected weighted on base is his xWOBA, which takes into account basically your different events are weighted differently. Like a home run is worth approximately 2, and then a walk's worth like 0.75. So it's not just like because on base is if you get on base, you get on base, and that's it. Like everything, no matter how you get on base, it's all the same, all considered the same as far as getting on base. But your WOBA weights your actual way that you got on base a little bit. But the thing with Alek Thomas though is he's in the first percentile of barrel percentage. So what that means, especially because his average exit velocity is in about the 66th percentile, is that he's hitting a lot of balls on the ground, it would seem, because a barrel is exit velocity of 100 or more and within a launch angle of like 8 to 50. So he's hitting the ball hard. It just seems like because of that barrel percentage, it's just everything's on the ground. So Alec, if you could get it in the air, I think you got it figured out, man. Just go talk to some of the launch angle guys. But but just kind of based on how he's starting, I think he again, if he can get it in the air, he can help out that team quite a bit, and that'll be an exciting outfield to watch for years to come. But also just kind of a nice little introduction to some kind of analytics stuff. But
I like it. Did you look at his game charts? Because like I mentioned earlier with Diamondbacks, the reason why I rated them third was because of who they've played and how they've played. So I mean, Alek Thomas is doing that against some of the best pitching: Dodgers, Padres, Dodgers, and Brewers. Those are the 3 teams he's played so far.
Yeah,
I didn't know this. He's got 11 hits. He has hits in 3 of his games. The rest of his games, he's 0 for, which is weird. He's 4 for 4 one game, 1 for 5 another, 2 for 4, and every other game he's 0 for. So Sounds like some bad luck, but yeah, he's fun to watch.
And I mean, I know, like in our text chats, I know you always yell about how the Braves, line out or something, and then like the other team gets like the infield singles, and like I always bring up what the expected batting average on those things are.
Yeah.
But I thought this would be a fun little segment
You
where
didn't respond to my text today, then that showed the exit velos of last night's game.
oh yeah, well they seem to be doing just fine. I don't need you to talk about the Braves any more than I have to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Corey.
Yep.
Number one, nice breakdown there. Keep doing that. Number two, I know my presentation was pretty watertight.
Sure.
But if I need some help on that, I'll probably come to you for some of those additional stats if they're asked for by the scouts.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. There's an expected genealogy weighted on base K rate though. That's the problem. That might have to be a new formula Corey has to make for us.
Hey,
Yeah.
genetics. I'm a
Mhm.
genetic freak.
I think with analytics you can have a
Freak's a good
stat for
word.
anything. So,
That's true.
but yeah, just look for those guys to maybe get better or worse. Again, like Machado is bad and is actually expected to be worse than he is, but I think he's just too good of a player to continue in that
Yeah.
direction. So I expect everything to turn around, but just kind of an interesting thing that he's only hitting 250, but he should be happy that he's only hitting 250, I guess.
That's neat. Yeah, thanks, man. So one thing that I've mentioned a few times just in passing, it seems like, is I'm amazed that there's still players in MLB producing at a high level that are older than me. And so I had fun with this. I told the guys over the next couple of weeks, that's going to be what I'm looking forward to, watching these old guys still contribute at the major league level. And so I got the top 10 oldest guys according to opening day rosters. And I'm going to do the first two today. And instead of starting at 10 and working my way up to one, I want to start at the top because this one guy just had a ridiculous weekend. And so I want to talk about him while he's extra relevant. But so the oldest guy right now, anybody know? Drum roll. Let's take some guesses. Who's the oldest guy in MLB right now?
Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz,
I would say Rich Hill.
Rich Hill.
I looked up the list, so I'm gonna
Oh,
bow
okay.
out.
Yeah, it's Rich Hill, but Nelson Cruz is second. So those are the two guys I'm going to talk about. So good job, guys. Rich Hill. Here, I'll just give you a little bio real quick, and I'll run through this quickly. Rich Hill turned 43 in March. Good birthday month. Obviously starting pitching for the Pirates. He was drafted 3 different times. Once by the Reds in the 36th round, which no longer exists, in 1999 out of high school. Then the Angels drafted him a couple years later in the 7th round as a junior out of the University of Michigan. He did not sign. So then the Cubs drafted him in 2002 in the 4th round. So going back to college worked out because he got 3 extra rounds in there. He has played for the Cubs, Orioles, Red Sox, Indians, Yankees, Angels, Red Sox again, Athletics, Dodgers, Twins, Rays, Mets, Red Sox again, and currently on the Pirates. I did a breakdown of all those starts, but you don't need to know that. That's just how long he's been there. 12 different teams since 2005 he has pitched for. And in all of that time, he's only been part of 2 trades. In 2016, the A's had him, and they sent him and Josh Reddick to the Dodgers for Grant Holmes, Jarrell Cotton, and Frankie Montas, which Frankie Montas then led to 3 of their starters that they have in their system right now. So that's worked out for the Athletics a little bit. And then 2021, the Rays sent Hill to the Mets for Matthew Dyer and Tommy Hunter. So nothing too crazy, but the Montas deal could still be paying dividends for Oakland today. But in those 18 plus years of pitching in the big leagues, he has never led the league in any category of significance for starting pitching, which is amazing. Although he does currently lead the NL in homers allowed. So we can keep track of that this year and see if he can finally get number 1 in a column. His best year was in 2007 with the Cubs, 195 innings. And then in 2021 with the Rays and Mets, he threw 158 2/3. Those are his 2 highest inning totals. It amazes me that he still has a job when he's never touched 200 and he's only been over 150 like 3 times. But that lefty, short distance, it works. Career ERA is at 3.89. He's never been an all-star never had a vote that I could find for any yearly award, but he has been Pitcher of the Month 3 times. Now, he made his debut in 2005. He wasn't Pitcher of the Month until May of 2016, July of 17, and May of 2021. So Rich Hill is the oldest guy in the bigs. What a weird biography. Like, you look at 3.89 ERA. He's a lefty with a crazy curveball. Everybody seems to still want him, but he never pitches that much. So I don't know, just a crazy bio. And the number 2, of course, was Nelson Cruz, currently DHing for the Padres. Yeah, you got a hand up? Yeah, question?
Yeah, before you go on to Nelson Cruz,
Yeah.
you may not have this written down, but I'd be curious to see what Rich Hill's career earnings were. Like, been in the big leagues that long.
Yeah, we can find that on Baseball Reference. I'll put it in Twitter afterwards.
Okay.
When we talk about the episode. So Nelson Cruz is the second oldest. He will turn 43 in July, so he's a few months behind Rich Hill. Currently DHing for the Padres. 1998 was signed as an international free agent by the Mets. I did not know that. Traded twice before making his MLB debut. First to Oakland, then to the Brewers, where he got a September call-up and 7 plate appearances before being shipped yet again that offseason to the Rangers with Carlos Lee for Julian Cordero, Francisco Cordero, Kevin Minch, and Lance Nix. So a decent little trade there. I know those guys, Francisco Cordero and Kevin Minch and Lance Nix, all played significant roles for the Brewers. The first guy never made it, I don't think. Played for the Rangers from 06 until 13. Then went to the Orioles, Mariners, Twins before being traded in 2021 with Calvin Foucher to the Rays for Drew Stroutman and Joe Ryan, which that's a nice little trade for the Twins. Got Joe Ryan for rental Nelson Cruz. 22 last year in 2022, spent with the Nats. This year he's on the Padres. 6 different teams, 7-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, 6-time he's received MVP voting in the top 5. 6-time received MVP voting in the top 10, but never in the top 5. 09 led the AL in homers with 40. 17 led the AL in homers with 119. 2020, yeah, that's crazy. And that's 14 years into his career. 2020 led the AL in intentional walks. He's second among active batters to Miggy with extra base hits. He has 844. Miggy has almost 300 more extra base hits than Nelson Cruz. That is amazing. I thought they'd be close. But man, it's crazy how good Miggy is. But this was a question I want to end with. He's career 274, 344, 516 slash, 860 career OPS, 461 homers, 1311 in RBIs. What do you guys think about Hall of Fame candidacy? Rich Hill obviously has no shot, but Nelson Cruz,
I don't
he gets 20
think
more
so.
homers this year, 20 more next year.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I mean, he made, as far as Joe and Jared are concerned, maybe one of the best defensive plays ever in 2011.
So you go back and look at his Rangers outfield stats. It's like when StatCast start tracking advanced metrics, they are off the charts how good he was defensively. I was like, this can't be the same guy. But obviously that has faded very quickly. And he never plays the outfield.
I mean, he's 42.7 WAR too. I just think because he doesn't play defense, I don't think so. Those offensive numbers aren't alarming enough.
I should have compared him to Ortiz. I'm curious how close he is to Ortiz on a lot of these.
I think people have gone in for less.
Well, yeah. Harold Baines has broke the system as a DH, which is going to be interesting how that's going to affect people going forward. I bring this up because Nelson Cruz is one of those suspended from biogenesis. So one of the first steroid suspensions. And we're getting to the point where the younger riders don't seem to really care about that. And I think you're going to start seeing some of these guys with good reputation. Like Nelson Cruz has a good reputation around the league. David Ortiz had a good reputation around the league. Clemens, Bonds, and A-Rod don't. A-Rod's is coming back around with the league, but not with the fans. But it's gonna be interesting when you start seeing these guys that are steroid suspensions but good reputations start sneaking into the Hall of Fame. How that changes? Because I mean, like we grew up Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. I mean, and the Bonds. That was '90s baseball. It is what it is, but it's weird not having them. And I've changed on that. I used to be like diehard steroids, you're out, but it'll be interesting. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think he's in. I don't think he's in either. But if he gets to 500, if he sticks around another year, they got a nice platoon situation. Him and Carpenter platooning at DH. So I brought this up because Cruz had 6 RBIs against the Braves on Sunday. He had 9 in the series. Like the dude can still hit. If he can just part-time DH, he can do a lot of damage real quick.
So
You know what they say, right?
You hit your play.
When he gets in, I'll expect an apology letter from all of you.
All
He ain't
right.
getting in.
So Ortiz has 55.3 BWAR, so it's 13 more. 541 home runs.
541.
OPS.
Okay.
OPS is 931. Like that's a pretty good career
Yeah.
OPS.
So he's got him beat pretty significantly in
And
most
like
safety categories.
I feel like writers give like a playoff clutch bump, I guess. Like Ortiz was just and
I think Ortiz should be in. So I was just curious if Cruz was even close
Yeah.
to it, but he's not. So that definitely hurts
I don't think
Cruz's.
so, but
That hurts Cruz's chances. But he's definitely better than Harold Baines. So
I don't think you're giving Rich Hill enough credit either. I don't know if we can say Rich Hill's nickname on the podcast either, but
I did not see a nickname of the
you don't know his nickname?
Rich Hill. No.
Okay, well, it's I shouldn't say it. Okay,
I'm pretty sure I'm aware of what it is.
I mean it's just the name.
What
It's-
is it? If you don't even want to say it,
No, it's just a name. It's Dick Mountain because his name's Rich Hill.
Oh,
Because
that's a good nickname.
yeah.
But he would do shotgun blast home run celebration.
Anyway,
I'm looking at these numbers and don't see how he does not get in.
He's not in.
Dude, Fred McGriff had those numbers and didn't get in.
Yeah, I mean,
He
I
is
think
now, but
Dude,
they're not
Well,
that
that's
good.
careers. He's had a great career, but he'd have to get the 500 for him to even be in the conversation, I think.
Yeah.
there's
Which would
another
be hard.
guy I can think of who probably has similar stats and a lot of gold gloves, and he ain't in. That's the end of it. Cooney, don't say anything.
All right, we're gonna go on to our weekend predictions. First, we'll recap what we did last week. Cooney doing the fist bumping.
no, we
because
don't have to do that.
He did a whopping 3-2.
Winning record, baby.
Joe and I were 2-3, and Jared brought up the
Jared
caboose,
sucks.
1-4. Hey, at least you got one.
All your favorite
Nope.
animals like lost.
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah. Maybe you should like different animals.
If I was Major League
Like-
team, I'd be on
like
track for
Bears.
97 wins. So I'm just saying.
Okay.
I won 60% of my games. 97 wins.
60%.
You'd all be under 500.
A small sample size.
Jay Lee would be putting up the worst record in the modern era.
You
Sorry,
battle the Oakland Athletics down there.
All right. The series we are going to talk about this week are the Twins and Yankees, Rays at Blue Jays, Brewers at Padres, Rockies at Mariners, Rangers at Astros. There were maybe some more exciting series to talk about, but we want to not talk about the same teams over and over again. So, try and mix it up a little bit just to have input for all our fans all over the country.
Yeah.
So we'll kick it off with the Twins at the Yankees. I actually really wanted to take the Twins here, but the Yankees kind of seem to be hitting their stride a little bit over the past few days. And I just think the pitching matchups favor the Yankees a little bit. We should actually have a really good Sunday game. It's Pablo versus Garrett Cole. So those are two guys with sub-2 ERAs going up against it. So I mean, I think that one's kind of a take your pick there, but I think the Yankees have the edge in the first two games of that series. So I'll take them. How about you, Jared?
So what you guys do is you always add numbers and metrics, and I'm not a metrics person.
Me neither.
I circled the Yankees because I hate Carlos Correa. And that is why I made that pick. Not because I think one team's better than the other. I just
lost
can't
another
stand that guy.
fan.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's listening. If he's listening to this podcast, then I hope it gets
Yeah.
canceled.
Him and Barry Wright are texting each other like, I can't believe these guys are talking about us like this.
You're these idiots.
So, Yankees, I need a big win. So, please.
I have Yankees as well. They're the
Oh
home
my
team.
goodness. Those
Um,
picked the Yankees the entire podcast history. I don't know if this has ever happened. 3 episodes in a row, he said something nice about the Yankees. About
there's
them
one thing the Yankees got that the Twins don't.
Rings?
No
T-shirts.
Oh.
power. The
arms.
Twins got
They got
less
arms.
power.
Apparently, they got arms.
Yeah, it's more than the Red Sox got, right? Empty uniforms. Yeah, Yankees pitching's maybe similar, but they're blast homers and the Twins don't have that. So Yankees.
Well, I'll do it, guys. I'm picking the Twins. I actually think the Twins have better pitching matchups, except for the Cortez game. I think that's Cortez game 2 is going to dominate. But then you got Cole going Sunday, but Lopez is just as hot as Cole right now. So that's going to be a great matchup. But here's a little research for that Sunday game.
Oh, here we
Career
go.
numbers against Garrett Cole. Byron Buxton, 2 for 4, 2 bombs. Carlos Correa, 6 for 10, 2 bombs. Nick Gordon, 2 for 5. Larnick, 2 for 5 with a bomb. Michael Taylor, 2 for 8 with a bomb. Christian Vasquez hitting 263 over 19 career bats against Garrett Cole. So, yeah, Cole and Lopez are both rocking right now, but it seems like this Minnesota lineup has a decent chance against Cole. So I've taken the Twins over the Yankees.
Yeah,
I'd like
Correa
to.
ain't going to do that no more because ain't no trash can helping him.
Also, like Buxton might pull a hamstring between now and then, so
Oh, it very well could be,
you know.
but I'm sticking with it. Hey, you guys can't mouth me. I'm winning this right now.
Oh no,
I
we
think that gives me more reason to.
certainly still can.
On my screen, you're 2 and 3, so thank you.
Yeah. You struck out 2 balls, 3 strikes.
All right. Moving on to Rays at Blue Jays. I'm gonna ride the hot hand here and take the Rays. The Rays pitching is outstanding. They got Barrios on Friday, who has 11 ERA through 2 starts. It seems like all the Rays pitchers are sub 2 ERAs. I don't have that in front of me, but I'm just gonna go out there and say that. Like
sub 1 ERAs.
yeah, well, yeah, they have 0 ERAs. Or some of them do, but I just think you got to ride the hot hand. Hopefully, it's still hot going into the weekend. Take the Rays.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Rays for the hot hand reason, but also I think George Springer is a tool. So I will continue that train of finding players I don't like to make my picks.
And
he happens to be one of them. What?
And
I love Rays.
yeah.
He likes the sunshine Rays. So
Sunshine. Yep.
Guns out, guns out.
I was looking to jump off the Rays train again, like I was in the power rankings, but I'm gonna go Tampa
He's
Bay.
back on.
I think they'll be tied up 1-1 going into Sunday, and then what are you doing, Cooney? Nice. I just saw buttons start coming off. I was like, huh? They got McClanahan on Sunday, and he'll take the series.
nailed it.
Couple
Is
extra
that-
hands in there. Oh, that's me. Okay, so this is gonna be fun. Either you guys are all gonna tie for first, or I'm gonna get first by myself because I am taking the Blue Jays. Yes, you're right. The Rays pitching looks awesome. The Jays pitching looks awful. But baseball's a game of averages, and I think this weekend the Jays are gonna have better starts. The Rays are gonna stumble a little bit. Bichette, Chapman, and Vlad all have OPSs over 1,000 right now. So I think this is the best, obviously the best team the Rays have faced yet this year. So law of averages says that the Blue Jays will win the series.
It doesn't say that.
Science.
Okay. Moving on to the Brewers at Padres. I'm gonna take the Padres. You got Michael Wacha coming in hot on Friday. Everybody loves Michael Wacha. Having a good start to the year.
We could have an episode on Michael Walker. I got some love there.
That's the one player Joe likes in all baseball.
Really? Well,
I mean, I'd spend $88 to pick him up on a $100 budget.
anyway,
what?
I think he's talking about like fantasy free agent bidding.
Well, that last $12 you could buy the rest Cardinals too, so you're good.
Yeah. The Padres are missing the two big Brewers guys in Woodruff and Burns, so I just think the other three are like Miley's had a good start. Lauer is not really had a good start. I think because they're missing Woodruff and Burns, that the Padres are going to take the series.
Yeah, give me the Padres for the simple reason of Nelson Cruz came in today and had a pinch hit. So Hall of Fame career based off of that. So give me the Padres.
He'll get 2 starts with Miley and Lauer going. Cruz will play 2 of those games.
Numbers don't lie. Hall of Fame.
The San Diego is the home team here, right?
Correct.
Okay. That combined with I don't like the Brewers. I'll go
Oh my gosh.
San Diego.
This is a very creative pod.
You taking the
All
Brewers,
right.
Skinny?
Hey, you two are the stat man.
Throwing a curveball at you. I am taking the split. I think it's going to be a 2-2 series. It's a 4-game set. I think it's going to split. I think the pitching matchups are even. William Contreras, shout out to him. He's on a 9-game hitting streak. He's on fire.
Why are you always trying to change things
you
for us?
realize that's
how
like
is this even a thing? Is that a tie that you get? Like you don't get a point either way?
If I get it right, I get it right. If I don't, I actually got more of a chance to lose now. We all got
Yes,
there's three outcomes. You have 3 outcomes too. There's 3 outcomes. Win, tie, or loss.
Yeah, but if the series
I must
ties,
have
I
missed
guess
that meeting.
if you call the tie, I guess you get a win. But if it ties and you call a winner, then you just get a tie. You don't.
I didn't get that
I'm
memo.
going for the win. That's math,
this
Jared.
But this is statistically the least amount of chance that you have to win.
It's statistically a guarantee because I got this. Got the split.
This
Moving
is the
on.
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Wait till you see a 2-2 series
Okay.
come Sunday. I'm a genius.
Oh, this is so dumb.
You guys have picked the exact same thing. That's dumb.
Well,
ahead.
all right.
But not for the same reasons.
Just because you hate everybody that used to play for the Astros.
Yeah. All right.
And I will continue that.
Rockies at Mariners kicking off on Friday with Austin Gomer versus Marco Gonzalez, 2 former Cardinals. I know everybody loves that. Both have bad starts so far. I know, Austin Gomer was the key piece coming back in that Arenado deal, right? Neither team's pitching has done well. At least they're not playing at Coors, I guess, for both pitchers. We got Castillo going on Sunday. I mean, I think the easy pick is the Mariners, so I'm going to take it just because.
You're a pansy.
Well, if the Rockies had Freeland going in one of these games, I might consider it a little bit stronger. But looks like the Mariners are dodging Freeland, University of Evansville alum. But I'll take the Mariners.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Mariners as well. I was trying to find a reason as to why, and I forgot about it until I looked up the Rockies stats here. I don't like Mike Moustakas. Never have, never will. And so that's why I'm picking the Mariners. And also J-Rod. Go J-Rod.
I'm picking Seattle, easy, probably a sweep. Um, Colorado has formed a team of, oh, nobody else wants you. Well, we don't have anybody any better, so we'll sign you. That's their team. They're not good. Their pitching is not good. So, I mean, Seattle hasn't really played well recently either. And by recently, I mean this year because it just started, but they're better than Colorado.
I picked Seattle as well. I really wanted to pick the Rockies, but I just couldn't. How has Chris Bryant not hit a homer at Coors Field yet? That's amazing.
I heard that yesterday.
Yeah.
That was wild to me.
Who hit Profar? Was it Profar that hit one yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Profar hit one like his second career game as a Rocky, and Bryant's played like 180 plate appearances or something like that. And hasn't done it yet. That's amazing.
That dude has to have one of the slowest bats I've ever seen in my life. Did it like slow down or has it always just been snail paced?
I haven't seen him much because he hasn't played much in the
Yeah.
past
He's been hurt a lot, so
few years. But
I
it's like it's just a very weird swing. Like it is a very like upwards finishing sort
do
of
think it is
swing.
a long swing.
Yeah, and
And the older he's gotten and more injuries stacked up.
I mean it worked for as
1
long
year.
as I cared for it to work. I mean he's rookie of the year and MVP, so
Yeah.
at least two. But it always has looked a little funny.
All right, let's see if anybody differs on Astros Rangers. Are you guys gonna all have the same picks?
I'm taking. Oh well, based on Jared's, I think we're gonna be the same because I'm gonna take the Rangers. Again, like their matchups, I think that. Although Seager did just leave a game today, I forgot about that before. So good research here, but
He got thrown out from right field yesterday.
yeah. Well, it was that it's the guy that came in to pitch. Like it's not fair when you can throw 95 off the mound and the
that
guy's
dude's
playing right
nasty.
field. But anyway, like the matchups for the Rangers. Like the Rangers offense is just good. I mean the Astros offense is very good. Like also while we're talking about Rangers and Astros, I don't know why none of us even considered Jordan Alvarez for AL MVP. Like dude is.
How's he hitting? Because he's got that wrist injury. Like he didn't play all spring with a wrist injury. That's why I didn't pick him. That's a big deal for.
I mean, I've seen him hit some tanks. I don't know specifically his stats.
So they may have been just resting him to keep him healthy. I assumed he was hurt, so they weren't playing him. But
is there a military base by the stadium or something? How's he hitting things?
That's how far he's hitting them.
He's hitting trains actually, kind of like Albert Pujols did off Brad Litch. He's hitting 300, 3 homers, 995 OPS.
So he's fine. Okay.
Yeah, he can still hit a baseball, very well. But all that to say, I'm still taking the Rangers. So I just might have talked myself in the Astros, but I already had Rangers written down.
Jared?
I saw that Seager's going to be out for like 4 weeks or something like that.
He just got removed from the game. It was today or it was yesterday, and I did not know what the diagnosis was.
Gotcha. Well, that doesn't change my pick at all. I was just making a statement. I will never pick the Astros for as long as I live. If you can tell me there's a player on there that you like, I'll call you a liar. Go ahead.
All right.
What if the Astros were playing like the Angel
Astros Cubs World Series? Who you got?
I'll take the Cubs every day of the week.
What about them versus the Trash Pandas?
Trash Pandas.
That's
all right.
They both got trash cans. I don't. What do you do?
It's gonna be a close game, but Trash Pandas all the way.
I'll take the Astros in a sweep. Seattle, Corey, you said they have a decent offense. I don't see that at all, especially without Seager. That's terrible offense.
Well, we're talking about the Rangers.
We're talking about Rangers, but
who's I talking about?
You said Seattle. You're looking at the Rangers roster, but you said Seattle.
The other Seager used to play for that team. Corey's brother is what he would put on his.
Rewinded.
We'll edit that out.
So, Corey, you said the Rangers have a decent offense. I don't see how you're seeing that, especially without Seager. They're terrible. So Houston,
they got Brad Miller.
Probably Brad Miller.
What more do you need?
I mean, when you can't stick on a team for more than a couple years and you get thrown around like you know what, no.
Nathaniel Lowe's a beast.
If Paul DeYoung keeps a job and you can't, that's whoo.
Houston with a sweep.
Ooh, I went Houston as well. I don't know if it'll be a sweep, but I disagree with Corey. I think the pitching advantages favor Houston. I think Garcia is better than Perez. Brown and Gray are even, and I think Valdez is better than Haney or however we say his name. And the Astros will be at home, and they have not played good. They've lost. Well, the Pirates was it this week? So they'll be ready to destroy the Rangers as
The
an
World
AL
Series
West,
hangover.
AL West rivalry. I think the Astros will put the beating on them at least twice.
Well, Jared and I had the same exact picks, and then Joe had the same except for the Astros Rangers game, and then Cooney
It's going 5-0.
made maybe the dumbest decision that's existed on this podcast so far, and took the least likely way to get him points as a choice.
You ain't first or last.
He's overthinking. He's going to get outmanaged.
Yeah.
And hot hands get cold, baby.
What does that mean?
You keep saying they're the hot team, they're the hot pitcher, they're the hot team.
Yeah.
They can't pitch
Yeah.
like that all year.
Well, you know what I've
Sounds like
got?
they need to
hot
heat up
ice.
some ice cubes.
Hot ice. All righty, guys. Well, that wraps up episode 3 of our pod. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Make some predictions with us. Share some thoughts on the Nelson Cruz Hall of Fame candidacy. And
100% he's in.
share some love on if Joe should be in the major league. But until next week, don't forget to rate
Rake your
Your
position.
position.